I saw a quote that said it was like throwing glitter up into the air and then trying to sweep up all of it. And no matter how hard you try to sweep it, there will always be little pieces somewhere. Hey, it's me, Christina, back with another video. This video is going to be a little different. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about grief. If you are familiar with my blog, Grief Cristina, and familiar with me, some of this information is things you already know. But if you just so happen to come across this video, welcome. Hopefully, I'm able to give you some tips, which, by the way, side note, I'm no therapist. I am no specialist. I am just sharing with you my experiences with grieving and things that have helped me get through some processes. This won't be one really long video. This may be a series. So welcome to season 1, episode 1 of Good Grief Cristina. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a little backstory. In November of 2014, around Christmas, I lost my grandpa, which sucked because one, I was at where I had clocked in at the exact time where where God was ready to have him back, and two, we were starting to build such a great relationship. And I mean like a really good relationship. So of course that hurt. He would give me gardening advice. He would come and paint whenever we had some random idea to paint anything. That sucked. So that was November of 2014. It got worse. Around Christmas of 2014, so approximately a month later, I lost my dad. Here we go. We're gonna be all right. Anywho, I lost my dad. And that truly sucked because I'm the only girl. I have 3 older brothers. I love them though, like them my dogs. 3 older brothers. I'm the only girl. And that day was life-changing. I never thought that I would see that day as quickly as it came. I felt like I was unprepared. I felt like I was upset. And of course that not knowing what to do, you know, he and I had a moment that day because I didn't know what to do and I was not ready. Of course you're selfish. You're like, no, you can't leave me yet. There are so many things you have to do or have to see me do. You know, I'm the only girl. I have to get married. You have to walk me down the aisle. You know, just so many things. And that changed me tremendously. And then around May of 2016, I know that seems like a really big gap, but these are important. Lost my grandma. So at this point, I have been hit with the big 3. Lost my grandpa around Thanksgiving, my dad around Christmas, and my grandma around Mother's Day of 2016. You're probably thinking, that is a lot. And let me tell you, that is my dog in the background. If you can hear him, the radio's on, so he's going through it. Anyway, let me tell you, it was not an easy process. When my grandpa passed, it was one of those, bro, what? Then when my dad passed, Christina was angry with the world. I ain't want to talk to you. I ain't want to kick it with you. I ain't want to skate with you. None. I felt like, you know, I would go through the steps. You know, you do the research and you go through those. They say there are these magical steps of grieving. I'm going to pull them up so I can walk you through what I went through. So if you look up steps of grief, this is what you get. You get denial, you get anger, the bargaining phase, depression, and acceptance. Now, I've been through these steps. I, of course, was in denial with all of them because it was like, there's no way. There's no way, you know, I would be experiencing these things as a woman, as an unmarried, no children woman, losing a big part of what's supposed to get me through those things, right? You do that. And then you get angry. I got angry because we were fighting so hard. Like my dad had kidney disease. So he would go to dialysis Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. When I could, I would wake up, drop him off, or stay. There were some times where I was literally staying those 5 hours. You know, after dialysis, he would want his McDonald's, and we would do those things. He would rest. And then if he had the energy, we go backyard and get some gardening done, which I felt like was our moment, you know, the thing that kept him, you know, moving and shaking and whatnot. But I also knew that dialysis took a lot out of him. So I got it, but I was still angry that he went through so much. And then, of course, the next step was the bargaining. I'm not too sure what I experienced as far as the bargaining stage when it came to grieving my dad. I'm pretty sure I was like, well, if I do this right, God will bring him back, or he'll just let me talk to him one more time, or all of this, you know, and that wasn't it. And then the depression hit. And it hit hard. And when I say it hit hard, I was seeing a version of myself that I was unaware of, and I wasn't ready to talk to anyone. I was like, what you gonna say? What you gonna do? If you're not bringing them back, then what we talking about? Like, what I'm gonna talk to you for? What's the point? So, you know, the usual day-to-day, I do what I gotta do to make it work and keep it pushing. And it got worse before it got better. It took me some years to actually get to a point where, not that I was like healed or it was fine, there was no more crying or whatever. I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is how life is now. I got to a point of understanding God allows us to borrow people, and beyond our control and beyond their control, when he is ready for them back, there is nothing we can do about it. And once I understood that, I kind of changed the way I looked at grief. I did get help, but I just felt like there were some things that help. I did do a little therapy. Let me not shade therapy. It did help because it allowed me to see things and where I needed to change certain things. And I will say that I'm now able to understand that those, for me at least, this is personal opinion. It's not that I think the stages are BS. It's the simple fact that it's not as simple as you go through these things and you get to acceptance and you're okay with them no longer being in your life, a physical being in your life. It's that you get to a point where you understand that God wanted his person back. And then I got to a point where I understood that. So when it hit or most recently last year when it hit again, I went through those stages, but then I had to understand that what has happened is beyond my control. Now, let me say this. There are times where it sucks. Those times where I find those little specks of glitter. I had one of those times last week, and that particular blog post for you to read will be up on goodgriefcristina.com. I'll link that down there so you can read it. But basically I had a dream, and I ain't like that dream. And I found myself up at exactly 6:01 in the morning, crying hysterically because of that dream. And I had no idea what to do, and it sucked. That should be the thing. Grieving sucks. I get it to process, but it sucks. So, instead of me, of course it took me a minute to pull myself together, which is normal. But I've had to find like certain outlets and ways. Clearly one of them is talking to myself and being able to share those talking to myself moments with someone else that's probably trying to understand it. Another thing has been the blog. I write notes, and through losing so many people, I won't say that the fear is in people dying. My fear has become things being unfinished when they pass. For example, with my dad, there were so many things that I felt were unfinished. So many more lessons I wanted to learn from him, and so many things that he was supposed to do, like walk me down the aisle and see me, just do so many things, be this great business owner and all these things that I accomplished. So that sucked. But now it's to the point where, of course, my three biggest things are fashion, philanthropy, and family. So I make sure that anything with family members or friends or family, that they're not unfinished. Like there isn't if something were to happen, because 2020 been kind of crazy, so if something were to happen, I won't have those moments where I'm like, dang, we were supposed to get up last week and I didn't even do it just because I wanted to be at home, or dang, they reached out to me for some help on so-and-so, and I ain't do it because I was so wrapped up in myself. I have that fear, and my way of moving forward with understanding and grieving properly is to make sure that that's not a thing that I'm doing. That's not a post I'm making, or any kind of situation where I'm like, dang, we were supposed to do this, and this, and I didn't, and man, I'm sorry. That's not what I want to be able to, what I want to do. I want to be able to celebrate. Like, I remember the last time we were together, or we was just talking about this, that, and the third, or, you was telling me, some things, you know what I mean? So that's a step that I've taken. Now, I know that I skipped from really bad to woohoo. So, of course, this will be a series, because I don't know who needs to hear this, but there were grieving and dating, losing your dad and your grandpa, and then try to navigate dating. I don't know if that's going to be episodes 2 and 3, or episode 2, part 1, part 2, and part 3. But I got some things to say. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this ramble of me discussing grief. If you have any questions, or if you would like to read some of the things, feel free to check out my blog. I actually just cut this shirt up that I got from one of my thrift flips. See Mickey Mouse? I love Mickey Mouse, by the way. It's real cute. Got it from the thrift store. And I just put some... But anywho, thanks for watching me talk to myself. And hopefully we can navigate this grieving thing together. Like I said, I am no expert, I am no specialist. I'm just sharing my experiences with you in hopes of helping or being able to help someone. So until next time, peace out. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and like and subscribe and share it if you're feeling great. See ya.